All right, most likely you're watching this video because you want to get more clients on LinkedIn. In this video, I'm going to show you how one of our clients was able to go from 10K a month to 30K a month, leveraging the silent sales system. He didn't have to send salesy DMs. He didn't have to send 1,000+ DMs in order for this to work. He didn't even post content, and he still was able to scale his business all through LinkedIn. And basically, I'm going to break down the exact path that he took. So stay on to the end. That way you can see exactly how he did it. So I'm going to break down the silent sales system. Let me actually start with some proof. So he closed a 3K deal. So it's $3,000 per month, cancel anytime. From there, he closed a 12K offer in this case, so 12K deal. And then finally he closed a 15K deal. So that's a total of $30,000 in 30 days. And as you can see, as time went on, he was able to charge more and more and more and more in this case. And I'm going to show you exactly how he was able to do that and the system that we put inside of his business in order for him to make his offer more valuable as well. So yeah, step number one, which is finding your ideal client, on LinkedIn. When it comes to like leveraging LinkedIn, these are like the two tips that most people recommend. The first one is, hey, you should like post content, So content is one to many, and it's basically something that like a lot of people can see. And in theory, it's a great strategy. We use content as well in order for us to get leads. So it's a great strategy. The only problem is when it comes to content, it requires like skills. It's almost like you have a basket and you put like rocks, inside of the basket. And every time that you post, it's like little rocks, that you put inside of the basket. And at some point, what you'll see is like your basket will be like a lot more heavier and heavier and heavier in this case. It's a quality game, but it's also a quantity game, meaning that sometimes, it might take you like more time in order for you to really nail down the content piece in this case. So it takes time ultimately. Ideally, you'd want something that's like faster and something as well that basically will educate prospects. And the second advice that most like LinkedIn gurus would give people is like, hey, okay, so what you need to do is you don't post content at all. Just focus on outbound. Just send out like as many messages as you can to as many people as you can. The only issue with that is when it comes to the sales process, there's like a lack of friction. So it means that like you go on a call, you send a message to the person and you go on a call. It's really not that hard to get someone on the call if you have the right messaging. And in theory, if you talk to more people, technically you close more people. No, you're wrong. In this case, what you need to do is you need to add friction inside of this sales process to make sure that there are like steps before they actually go on a call with you in this case. Because if it's super, super easy to go on a call with you, what's going to happen is you'll have less trust, more objections. People are going to give you, like, they're not going to want to pay like high ticket in this case. And you'll be stuck like charging $1,500, to $2,000 a month in this case. So 1.5 to 2K. And that was like Corey's case. He was like really stuck at around that range in this case. So as I said, like you need to have friction, So in order for you to add friction, it means that you don't reach out to regular prospects. Obviously, you reach out to prospects who fit your ICP, but you always want to prioritize prospects who have shown intent first. Maybe they're commenting on the lead magnets. They registered for a LinkedIn event. They're currently hiring for a specific like position in this case. You need to be able to like find prospects who are somewhat looking or have shown interest towards what you sell in this case. And what you'll notice is like it's going to be a lot easier for you to get them to respond. So your reply will be a lot higher. And therefore, you'll be able to like book more meetings ultimately. But what we're doing is that we're not going on the call straight away because it said like we need to add friction. What we're doing, and that's step 2, we're basically like creating an evergreen video sales letter. So an evergreen video sales letter, if you don't already know what it is, a sales letter is basically just like a copywriting framework that you use in order for you to create an epiphany, change the prospect's beliefs, show them like a new path. And then from there, having a call to action, which is typically, hey, if you want to actually do this, book a call in this case. So we break down the limited beliefs, we show them how your process works. We show them the results that you've accomplished as well to make sure that they trust you. We make sure that it speaks to their mind and soul, not just to their soul, because like a lot of people, like whenever they create VSLs, like it's like, do you want to feel better and feel good and like do this? Like if you're selling to B2B, if you're selling to B2C, yes, you can like sell to their soul. It's like it's emotions. But if you're selling to like a business owner, you need to make sure that you speak to their mind as well, because they're like, they want to see like, okay, how are you exactly going to help me do this in this case? And they need to see the actual thing. So you need to make it like both emotionally packed, but also like logically, it needs to make sense, for them in this case. So yeah. And then from there, we make the videos sales letter so good, like they feel like they have to talk to you at the end. So in this case, like Corey was able to like showcase this video to his ideal clients. They went through it and the video was so good that it made them be like, okay, let me actually talk to this guy in this case. That's like the feeling, that they should have whenever they go over your stuff in this case. But how do we like contact them in the first place? The first thing that we do is we basically want to make sure that we use a phantom message. So as I said, 99% of people that I talk to typically try to go on the call straight away. Now, why is that like detrimental? Simply because, as I said, like if you go on a call straight away, what's going to happen most likely is they'll just view you as just another like person that's trying to sell them something. And as a result, you'll notice that you'll get a lot more objections again. And I'm pretty sure that you've noticed this, but like whenever you do this process, and you basically like try to go on a call straight away, what typically happens is like within the first 2 minutes to tell you, okay, cool. So what do you do? How does it work? And it's like the worst feeling ever, right? Because you took them on a call, you're hoping to like show them your solution and they don't even trust you. So like, okay, what do you do? Like, what do you sell? And when you typically hear this, you already know that you've lost in this case, and you lost the game already, and it has just begun in this case. It's the beginning of the sales call. You lost the sale already simply because they don't know you, like you, and trust you. I'm not selling that you can't sell stuff by leveraging cold outreach. I'm just saying that it typically requires like such a high level of skill, when it comes to like sales, to take someone from a state where they do not know you at all to a state where they actually trust you. So typically with cold outreach, you need to build a trust on the sales call. With this process that I'm showing you right now, you basically do the opposite. You basically build trust prior to the sales call. So you had more friction in this case. And that's why we send a phantom message. So the phantom message ultimately is we don't ask them to go on a call straight away. What we do is we typically would want to say, okay, cool. So I actually like have this amazing thing that I recorded, is it okay if I send it to you? And the ask is no longer, hey, let's get on the call. The ask is, hey, do you want to watch this video? More people are ultimately going to respond. So instead of you having like a 10% reply rate, you have like a 20%, 30%, 50% reply rate, because you're not trying to get them on a call in this case. You're trying to make them watch a video. It's more simple. It's an easier ask, and therefore it works better. So yeah, so once, they basically watch the video, you basically ask them their thoughts, on it, and basically like follow up with them until they respond. When you do this correctly, 3 things can happen. The first thing is they basically completely ignore you and they don't respond, and that is completely fine. It's the nature of the game. They have questions about it and come back to you. So they might be like, okay, cool. So how does like this and this, like, how does it actually work? Or basically number 3, they watch the video and book a call straight away. So what we do is the way that we set up like this full process is once they watch the video, they actually self-book. Now, if you don't already, a lead that self-books ultimately will be more valuable than the lead that you've had to convince. Simply because like if someone self-books, it shows like a higher level of intent. So instead of they're like a 10 out of 10, in terms of interest, because they watch the thing in the first place. Then from there, you shift their mindset. And then at the end, they're like, okay, let me actually talk to this guy, because it's so valuable that it's going to be crazy. I have to speak to this guy. So literally what's going to happen is basically they'll go ahead and go on your calendar, pick a time, and at the end, they'll be able to talk to you in this case. That's why this stuff is so powerful, because ultimately you have prospects into that self-book with you. Instead of, you actually like trying to convince them to go on a call, you basically create that interest, in this case, you're like an interest creator. So yeah. All right. So number 4, that's like the most important thing in my opinion. He basically like built something that was expensive and valuable at the same time. I don't just want you to build something that's expensive and that's it. You basically would want to sell something that's extremely valuable and something that's expensive. So where like most people stuck at this price range, $1,500 to $2,000, simply because like their services has become like a commodity in this case. So what ends up happening is like they charge $1,500. Maybe in Corey's case, he was like selling SEO. and he had like an SEO agency. Cool. Do you know how many SEO agencies are in the marketplace right now? Even on LinkedIn? There are like thousands and thousands and thousands of SEO agencies. Everybody these days does SEO in this case. But ultimately, like what helped Corey to differentiate himself is he no longer branded himself as just the SEO guy. He was basically the guy that helped X, I won't share the business, but he was helping like X type of business to essentially like get a specific outcome. And in order for him to do so, he actually solved more problems than just SEO. Because SEO, getting traffic, that's just one side of the puzzle. But like once you get traffic for your sites, there are other things that matter as well. Cool. So traffic is like piece number one. Okay. Once you have more traffic, you might have like a conversion problem, you know. So he was actually able to solve the conversion rate problem, making sure that like the landing page is converting a lot more. That's piece number two. Okay. Now, from there, there's like the content problem. So these type of business that he's helping, they don't post good content, meaning that like their content is all over the place, you know, they don't post good content. So in this case, like he actually helped them to write better blogs that ultimately allows them to differentiate themselves and educate their prospects as well in this case. So guess what? He went from like just solving one piece, one side of the puzzle, which is more traffic, to basically like solving the traffic piece, then helping them to like convert more, and then at the end helping them to become omnipresent by creating more content and having piece of content that ultimately educate prospects. Now, literally like these, he didn't come up with those based on just like, okay, let me just offer a bunch of different things. He actually analyzed what were the things that people were struggling with that were preventing them from going to that next level, and he added specific deliverables that helped him to solve these different issues that they were experiencing, and even perceived problems as well. So he's able to charge, like he went from charging from 1K, you know, to 15,000, simply because he was able to get in front of prospects who have shown more intent. He educated them, leveraging an evergreen video sales that broke their beliefs. And then from there at the end, he basically like went on a sales call in order for him to explain exactly how he was going to help them. And then from there, he basically offered a better solution compared to what most SEO agencies are offering in this case, which is just SEO. He's solving like more problems and more valuable problems in the eyes of his ICP in this case. So yeah. So we actually like call this the silent sales system. We install this entire process inside of his business in this case. So if you have like an agency or a coaching business and you're looking to get prospects and that are looking for what you do, and then from there educate them, and then from there sell something that's going to be high ticket, ideally 10,000 plus in this case, there's going to be my channel link down below. Basically, we'll show you exactly how we can implement this inside of your business. We'll ask you a few questions. If we feel that you're a good fit, basically we'll make you an offer. All right, that's pretty much it. Cheers.